you doing today? Welcome to another podcast from the Zebra Lounge. Mike DePilla and Andrew Seidler. I'm Mike McGuire, and it's time to do those 2007 Major League Baseball predictions. Boys, starting off in the National League, who do you like in the Eastern Division?
The NL East is traditionally the Braves division. You know, last year
up until last year,
they go to the Mets. I think the Mets pitching is too suspect to pick them to repeat. I'm going with the Phillies this year.
Yeah, I like the Phillies. I'm actually looking for the Phillies in the wild card, but I personally like the Mets. I mean, the rotation is questionable, but I think a guy like Oliver Perez is going to have a bounce back. I mean, I think he's really could be a good pitcher there. But that lineup is what it's all about. I mean, that's going to be like those Yankees teams.
Right.
From,
Exactly. I personally think, like their New York counterparts, that the Mets are going to have just enough offense with both Carlos going, Reyes, LaDuca. They got just a stacked lineup, and I think they're going to have enough offense to overcome whatever they don't have on the hill.
Yeah. I think the Phillies have some pretty good pitching.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they have holes in their bullpen, though, and they were looking to make a trade for a reliever. If they do that and they're solid in the pen and in the rotation, I think that's enough to finally, I mean, every year the Phillies are kind of there, and then they fade at the end of the season.
Yeah. For Charlie Manuel, this is it. You got to do it.
Oh, yeah. I think Pat Burrell, that's a big season for him, too. If he can protect and give, make sure Ryan Howard actually sees a fastball or two after the All-Star break, they might be in it at the mix as well. Yeah. All right, moving on. How do we like the Central? Who do you guys like there?
Central, I'm going with I'm going with the Brewers in the NL Central. And here's my thing with two of my National League picks, is that the National League isn't that good this year, I don't think.
It's bad.
It's pretty bad. So I think there's a lot of room for a young, talented team that maybe hasn't quite taken their lumps yet to move up and win right away, as opposed to the traditional, you kind of take your beatings for a while as you work your way up. So that's what I'm going to see. That's what I see happening with the Brewers. They're a good team. They got a great lineup, and they have a really good rotation. If Ben Sheets stays healthy, you go from Sheets to Capuano. That's a pretty good. That's as good of a 1-2 as anywhere in the National League.
Sheets might be the X factor in the entire NL Central, because this guy, when he's on, is probably as good as anyone in the National League. But when he's off, that's half the season a lot of times.
And those Cubbies seem to have so much problem with the Brewers too, man.
Any lefty.
Capuano just kills them.
Any soft toss and lefty.
Yeah, you got Supan there too.
But then you go down to Supan, right? Who had a pretty good postseason.
Yeah, so. That's a tough team. Going from Supan, I'm going to actually take his former team, the Cardinals. Really, process of elimination. It could be any number of teams that gets 84, 85 wins. I'm going to go with the Cardinals just because you're going to have to prove to me that they're not the best team in the division. I think there are plenty of teams right around them, but that lineup is still really tough.
The Central's a joke. It's a log jam of a division. The Cardinals won the World Series last year, but they won 83 games.
Yeah.
Now, I think after you get past Carpenter and Pujols, the Cardinals aren't that great. I think, there's a lot of deeper teams in that Central that are going to make a run. I'm sure I'm going to surprise a lot of people here, but my pick is the Chicago Cubs. I mean, that $300 million upgrade, I think is going to be enough in a slugfest of a division. I think they're going to out-hit everybody, get just enough pitching to win 88 games and steal that division away.
I don't think it's crazy. This guy probably.
I just think you're thinking of Kool-Aid.
I think that you don't have outside the Brewers, I think that they might have the strongest, starting rotation in the division. They have plenty of boppers. I mean, I could probably talk myself while we're on camera and just saying I'll take the Cubs. I don't think it's a crazy pick.
You can make a case for the Reds. I mean, that division is so wide open. I think they're going to beat up on each other all season. And I'll tell you this, for the Cubs, 24 of their first 28 games are against Central Division opponents. So if they can get off to somewhat of a quick start and prove they're for real, I see them sticking around.